Okay, so I need to tell you about something that's probably sitting in your kitchen right now, something you've been using your entire life, but you have no idea what it's actually doing inside your body. I'm talking about garlic. And no, this isn't just about boosting your immune system. I'm talking about specific, measurable changes that happen in your body within hours of eating garlic. Let's start with something that affects, literally, billions of people: high blood pressure. A meta-analysis published in Experimental and Therapeutic Medicine looked at 12 controlled trials involving over 550 participants with high blood pressure. Garlic supplementation reduced systolic blood pressure by an average of 8 to 10 millimeters of mercury. That's roughly equivalent to the effect of standard blood pressure medications. A food, not a pharmaceutical drug, having medication-level effects. Here's what's wild. When you crush or chop garlic, you activate an enzyme that converts allicin into allicin. This gives garlic its distinctive smell and is responsible for most of its health benefits. Allicin helps your blood vessels relax and dilate by increasing nitric oxide production in your body. Think of it like widening the pipes in your house so water flows more easily. Less pressure, same flow. This same mechanism has implications for your entire cardiovascular system. A study in the Journal of Nutrition found that aged garlic extract improved arterial stiffness in patients with metabolic syndrome. Your arteries literally became more flexible and elastic. As we age, our arteries get stiffer, which is a major risk factor for heart disease and stroke. Garlic appears to slow down or even partially reverse this process. Now let's talk about cholesterol. A systematic review in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry analyzed 39 different studies and found that garlic consumption reduced total cholesterol by an average of 17 milligrams per deciliter and LDL cholesterol by about 9 milligrams per deciliter. These are measurable, clinically significant changes from eating a food. And unlike statins, garlic doesn't come with a list of potential side effects. As long as your arm, but here's where it gets really fascinating. There's emerging research showing that garlic might actually help prevent certain types of cancer. The National Cancer Institute has been studying garlic for years, and epidemiological studies show that people who regularly consume garlic have a lower risk of certain cancers, particularly stomach and colorectal cancers. A large study in China involving over 3,000 people found that those who ate raw garlic at least twice a week had a 44% lower risk of developing lung cancer compared to those who rarely ate garlic. Even after adjusting for smoking, the protective effect remained significant. The mechanism comes down to organosulfur compounds in garlic. Research published in Cancer Prevention Research showed that these compounds can actually slow down or stop the growth of cancer cells in laboratory studies. They interfere with the cancer cell cycle, trigger programmed cell death in abnormal cells, and reduce inflammation that can promote tumor growth. Now, I want to be really clear here. I'm not saying garlic cures cancer. What I am saying is that regular garlic consumption appears to be one of many dietary factors that can reduce your risk of developing certain cancers in the first place. If you're finding this information valuable and learning something new, do me a solid and hit that like button. It really helps the algorithm show this video to more people. All right, let's talk about your immune system. You've probably heard that garlic fights colds, and you might have dismissed it as an old wives' tale. Well, a study published in Advances in Therapy followed 146 participants over 12 weeks during cold season. Half took a garlic supplement daily, the other half took a placebo. The garlic group had 63% fewer colds. But even more impressive, when they did get sick, they recovered significantly faster. Their symptoms lasted an average of 1.5 days, compared to 5 days in the placebo group. The reason this works comes down to those organosulfur compounds, enhancing the function of immune cells, specifically certain white blood cells that are your body's first line of defense against viruses and bacteria. Here's something unexpected. Garlic might actually help your athletic performance. Research from the University of Stirling found that garlic supplementation improved exercise capacity and reduced exercise-induced fatigue. That nitric oxide production we talked about earlier improves blood flow to your muscles during exercise, which means better oxygen delivery and better performance. Ancient Greek athletes used to eat garlic before competing in the Olympic Games, and it turns out they might have been onto something. Let's talk about your brain, because this is where things get really interesting. Garlic contains powerful antioxidants that protect against oxidative damage, and your brain is particularly vulnerable. A study in the Journal of Nutrition found that aged garlic extract improved cognitive function and reduced markers of oxidative stress. In patients with mild cognitive impairment, there's also research suggesting garlic might help protect against neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. A study in Experimental and Therapeutic Medicine showed that garlic compounds could reduce the accumulation of amyloid plaques in the brain, which are a hallmark feature of Alzheimer's disease. Now, before you start eating raw garlic by the handful, let's talk about how to actually use it, because this matters more than you'd think. When you crush or chop garlic and let it sit for about 10 minutes before cooking, you allow the lutein to fully form. If you cook garlic immediately after cutting it, you destroy a lot of the beneficial compounds before they even have a chance to form. Research from the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry found that microwaving garlic or boiling it immediately after crushing destroyed most of its beneficial properties. But if you let crushed garlic sit for 10 minutes and then cook it lightly, you preserve most of the health benefits. And let's address the smell. Yes, garlic makes your breath smell, but you don't need to eat massive amounts to get benefits. Most studies showing positive effects used the equivalent of 1 to 2 cloves of fresh garlic per day. That's totally manageable, and if you eat it with food, especially foods with fat, the smell is much less noticeable. There are also aged garlic supplements that have been deodorized and still retain most of the beneficial compounds. Here's my honest take after looking at all this research. Garlic is one of the most underrated health foods on the planet. It's cheap, it's available everywhere, it's been used medicinally for thousands of years, and modern science is confirming what ancient healers somehow knew. It has measurable effects on blood pressure, cholesterol, immune function, cancer risk, and brain health. Is it a miracle cure? No. Will it replace your medications? Absolutely not. And don't even think about stopping any prescribed medication without talking to your doctor. But as a regular part of your diet, garlic is one of those simple things that can have a real impact on your long-term health. The beautiful thing is that it's not some trendy superfood that costs $50 for a tiny jar. It's something humans have been eating for millennia, and it works. So maybe tonight when you're cooking dinner, throw in an extra clove or two. Your future self might actually thank you for it. If you found this video helpful and learned something new about what garlic is actually doing in your body, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because we're going to keep diving into the real science behind everyday foods. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.